Anything for the Master Kuthumi? Christopher has a question.
Beloved Kuthumi, what is the greater part of loving kindness and compassion regarding serious issues that in one sense we need to pay attention to, but in another sense we can surrender to divine order regarding everything from Planet X to artificial intelligence to solar corona ejectas and serious karmic returns upon the earth for man's inhumanity to man or whatever?
Okay. Everything that transpires in the human dimension is temporal and is based on duality and cause and effect. To reach a state of the ideal and the divine, you have to rise above that. Compassion helps you to resolve the conflicts of light and darkness, good and evil, of duality. And how does compassion do that? It is in the center of your being that you find God and that you find compassion. So when you find God, you naturally start to resonate at a higher frequency that is above all the conflict, the duality, the darkness that you see in the world, and all the evil or the energy veil that you witness. So even though you're still in the soup of 3D, your consciousness can rise above that soup or above the astral plane into the higher etheric and fire planes of being to be in a godly state of compassion, which is love through oneness. Compassion is love through oneness. And the oneness is what resolves duality into unity. The oneness of love and the love of oneness. So whether it's Planet X or conflict, Armageddon, the pandemic, whatever you choose to call any of these temporal states that exist in 3D through duality, you can resolve all of these issues in your own consciousness by being compassionate, going within, contacting through your heart the God presence within you, rising in vibration or elevating your consciousness and your frequency to the Christic level and above, and supplanting all of the inanity with a vision of purity, the vision of purity. So through compassion, we supplant the inanity with a vision of purity. And through that vision of purity, we attain what we desire, what we aspire to of the heaven world, and all of that which is pure and from a stream of the diamond crystal state of being supplants and transmutes the Maya, the illusion of 3D. So you dream the great dream of God, which is beyond human dreams and human desires, human emotions, human feelings. And in the divine dream, which is the ideation of perfection, that is what the divine dream is, the ideation of perfection. You witness to the heaven world, all of its glories, all of its beauties, all of its classic and amazing virtues. The angels, the ascended hosts, cosmic beings, the New Jerusalem, the heavenly kingdom that is so phenomenal that when you witness it, then you don't worry about the temporal world anymore, because you know that is the reality that you really live within in your higher bodies. You are already living within the New Jerusalem in your higher bodies, right? You're already living in the New Jerusalem in your higher bodies. Yet you have to choose to live in that reality energetically, and you reach that state where you're able to do that through compassion. So compassion displaces all of the evils, all of the chaotic energies of 3D, transmutes them, and recreates them into the higher reality. The nice thing about transmutation is, since matter is neither destroyed nor created by humans, God can use the process of transmutation to recreate, or by transmuting, it's changing one form into another. God can transmute what we call darkness or evil into light and God good. So we gave these prayers, wash the earth in violet fire. If you were conscious of what was going on, darkness that we had cut loose and set free through the action of Estrella, the circle and sword of Estrella, was going into a flame, a beautiful bonfire of light, and being recoalesced in spirit as beautiful divine structures, geometric formulations, cosmic energies that we can then call upon to do God's will upon earth. So after you give violet fire prayers, songs, mantras, and meditations, you have just as an alchemist done a great work to recreate a portion of Maya into reality, or transmute Maya into reality, and that is recreation. So transmutation is really recreation. And Shiva is the great transmuter or recreationist. He's the greatest recreationist that we know of in the cosmos as the destroyer, but he's really a recreational. He lives in a cosmic recreational vehicle, his cosmic Merkaba. And so we can take a cue from him, and maybe a Q-tip from him if we like, and use that to clean things out, like our ears and everything else. So it's incumbent upon us to, as alchemists, understand the processes of transmutation. Forgiveness is also the great transmuter, because what does it do? It disarms evil. It disconnects you from attachments to your ego and its dualistic vibration of always condemning or blaming either you or others, and of processing things within a field of inanity, which duality is really inanity. Remember that. Duality is really inanity. It's stupid. Duality is stupid. It is what it is, but unity is smart. Unity is very wise. So if you really desire to be wise, live in unity. That's the wisest place to live in. If you're living in duality and you're remaining there in your consciousness, well, you're not as wise as you could be. Let's just put it that way. So the wise ones live in unity. The unwise ones live in duality and remain there through the reactivity. That's how you live in duality, through reactivity. So to be non-reactive means to be compassionate, because compassion is non-reactive. It's divinely radioactive, but in a good way. But it's not reactive in a negative way.
Thank you.
Thank you. So did you know what Mary Shelley's favorite scent is? Frankenstein scents? Okay. Made a lot of sense to me. That just came out of nowhere, out of nowhere. I guess we're supposed to laugh. Mary Shelley was the author of Frankenstein, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Or KH? It's a lot to chew on that one. I'm going to have to remember some of those quips, because duality is really inanity. That's pretty amazing. There's some good pithy statements in there that I think I'm going to have to revisit. Mona gave me a book on compassion for Valentine's Day, and I'm not quite done reading it, but it is awesome. So we're going to have to get that book in our store. Thank you, honey. Any questions from the almond gallery? Or the cashew gallery? Peanuts are not really that great anymore. Okay.
Earlier, you were speaking about compassion, and then a number of other words that start with C: criticism, condemnation, and a whole, you listed, I don't know how many different ones. So, a lot of those other C's come up because we react to things.
Right.
And they're usually because we are around somebody, a family member, or somebody who we probably have something to work out. And what's Kuthumi's favorite way to
Not react.
change away from the feeling of the reaction and to begin to emanate compassion? Because that's a trick. I have some tricks for doing that, but I'd like to know
when
what his
you're
trick is.
reactive, you're in the ego. To get out of the ego, you go inside. So you have to pull your consciousness from the peripheral of reactivity, because when you react, you're on the periphery of your being. You're not centered in the heart when you're reactive. So a part of you has gone out into the mind and the ego, and you just want to, you want to tell them what you think, and their beliefs are not true, and they're off base, and all this. So you're on the periphery. Your consciousness now has descended from the Christic to, whether it's the mental plane, the astral plane, the physical plane, whatever. Even the memory plane is below the level of the Christ. So you draw in your consciousness into your heart, and you choose. It's almost like you choose, just bring your hands together and form what we used to do to pray when we were kids in many churches. You bring your hands together over your heart. What does that do? It takes you out of polarity. Now you created this little field of energy through your hands that have collapsed duality right over your heart chakra. You're in unity. I feel radiation just by doing that. Do you feel that? Right over your heart chakra, you've collapsed duality. You're now in the center of your being. You've drawn your consciousness from the periphery right back into the heart by making this. You could do this, but I like this better because you're pointed toward heaven. If heaven's really within, so really we should be pointing toward our heart. But that's kind of hard, unless you're, whatever. But for the purposes of thinking of heaven as above us in vibration, you can do this. And now you're in unity, and you pull your consciousness into the heart consciously. And then you listen, and you don't say anything, and you wait till the person has spewed out whatever it is, or said their piece, and you smile. You may even, I don't know if you want to make this gesture in front of them. You may not. It depends on what their belief systems are. Maybe you put your hands over your heart instead. If this would look too pious or whatever, falsely pious, you go like that. Or you do some other gesture that draws you into your heart, and you choose to be non-reactive. And it's not always easy in the heat of the moment. I mean, when you've already started an argument or you've started to react, you're immediately in ego. So you have to choose to undo the ego and disempower the ego to speak its piece. So you internally can say to the ego, I will not allow you to speak through me. You can choose to tell your ego, I will not allow you to speak through me. I choose not to react. So it's a conscious choice. Now, every time you misqualify energy through your vocal cords or through speech or whatever, there's a split second, a millisecond, where your Christ self tells you, if you say something, it's going to be a bummer later, right? We all have that split millisecond that our inner self is telling us, don't do it, don't do it. If you say something, it's going to let out a whole barrage of other things you're going to misqualify energy and make karma. Have you all had that experience in a split second? So what is the crux or the key to listening and obeying that inner voice? That's what we all have to choose. So whatever works for you to be able to obey that voice of conscience that tells you in that split second, don't do it, don't do it. That's the key. That's the key. But you're going to be a lot more able to listen and obey if you're right here. Your consciousness is here rather than out here with the ego and the peripheral. So that's the answer, the best we can do in the time we're allotted. So thank you, Boyd.